And Dad, I have this little thing called the seven keys of marriage.
Oh,
These
there
are
you
my mom and dad's seven keys to a successful marriage and to a what I would consider a Catholic thriving family. Um, the first is to build your marriage on self-sacrifice.
Hmm.
So, Father Bruce John, you might remember in the old marriage rite, um, there used to be an exhortation that was read to the couple, right?
Beautiful.
And in the middle of the exhortation was a line that says, "Sacrifice, which is the heart of marriage and priesthood, right, is always tedious and irksome.
Hmm.
Love can make it bearable, and perfect love makes it a joy." And for whatever reason, my parents latched onto that line, and they would repeat it over and over again to us. So that's the first thing, is just build your marriage on self-sacrifice. The second thing was anticipate things getting better, not easier,
Hmm.
but better. My mom and dad went through a horrific storm about a year and a half into their marriage, almost divorced, chose not to. The result of that was they learned deeper faith in God and deeper faith in each other. They learned that they could weather anything by God's grace, and I mean anything. Um, so anticipate things getting better. Third, never keep score. Sports is great, but marriage ain't a sport. Um, Fourth, forgive everything immediately, no matter what. Fifth, more directly to your question, Father Richard, um, the things the one thing perhaps that children need to know most is that you, mom and dad, love each other
Hmm.
more than they need to know you love them.
Hmm.
Because when I know my mom and dad love each other, I'm safe and I feel safe.
Hmm.
And when I don't know that, everything is shaky. And then sixth, I guess, directly to your question, is to model the faith, right? Children are mimics. They will imitate what they see. And I think the culture around us tries to tell parents, your voice is really not all that important. Kids don't listen to you. They're getting their influence from other places. And that's simply not true. The data is so overwhelming with regards to this, that hands down, the single most important pastor a child ever has is its mom and dad.
Hmm.
And I used to see my dad, three things about my parents. One, I saw them read scripture.
Hmm.
Two, we always prayed before meal and we never said grace, meaning we never said a rote prayer. I just heard, and it was always my dad, and he just prayed. And so I would hear him pray, which was huge.
Yeah.
And then third, most importantly for me, was I saw my dad. My dad used to, his bedroom, my mom and dad's bedroom was at the end of a long hallway. And every night the door was open, at least up until a certain point. And I would see my dad at the foot of his bed on his knees praying.
Hmm.
And I don't think my dad prayed so that we would see him, but I think my dad prayed so that we would see him. You know, like the people in the parish, they need to know you pray.
Yeah.
You know, so like as a priest, people need to see me pray. So I'm
Hmm.
not praying so people will see, oh wow, Father's a really holy guy. But I am praying in a public place so that people know I'm talking to God, right? And
Hmm.
so as a young boy, my dad was a CEO, very successful man. Without my dad ever opening his mouth, I saw a real man has faith. He gets on his knees, he talks to God. I guess if I want to be a real man, I should get on my knees, I should talk to God, and I should have faith. And so those things were just massive. And then the last thing, which is my favorite line about marriage, right, is never forget the point of marriage. And so I think there's a single point to marriage. And my mom, when my dad died after 66 years of marriage, all my family was seated. It was just my mom and I. We were standing there at the casket about to walk in for the beginning of the funeral. And I heard my mom look at my dad lying in the casket, and she said words I'll never forget. She said, "Honey, because of you, I know who God is."
When I heard that in your podcast, I was so deeply moved by that.
Mm.
I thought, if I can do that as a priest, I'll,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's that really floored me. about how the sacrifices your dad made for your mom to come back to her every night from his trips.
Yeah.
That was very, very powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is there something greater that anybody could say about us? You've helped me know who God is.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so, yeah, so rich, so profound.